are back. Welcome to Mom's Basement. Today, we don't really have a guest because there are major stories going on in the community. I'm sure you can read the headline and kind of see what we're going to be talking about. Bags, like, when you heard this news, I mean, because this is unprecedented, right? Like, what were your thoughts?
My thoughts, honestly, were I can't fucking believe Triller is teaming up with Jake Paul to sue h3h3. It just seems like something that, I don't know, typically when it comes to like creator on creator beef and stuff, it usually doesn't get to the point where there's lawsuits and lawyers and legal stuff involved. After I watched your drama alert and kind of like looked a little bit further into the matter, I don't know, it seems, I really don't know how to feel about it. He clearly fucked up though, and he incriminated himself.
I feel like if this were to happen to someone else, like they would defend that person, you know? Like, I feel like if KSI did this, right? Like, yeah. I feel like the entire internet would like defend KSI and be like, look, you know, Triller, like, try to work things out with JJ, settle this matter or something. But dude, we're talking about an individual who's attacked everybody, who has problems with like so many people in the community. I think something that I seen said the most about it was couldn't happen to a better guy. But let's get into the details real quick. For those that don't know,
I think I take the side on that as well, because when it comes to h3h3, this motherfucker virtue signals harder than anybody I've ever seen on the internet. And when it comes to like, you know, putting themselves on a pedestal and just being above it all and doing everything the right way and always having the best takes, he really takes the cake on that shit. So to see him like actually fuck up and actually kind of have his back against the wall in a situation like this,
I think
you don't wish. I mean, you're kind of a maniacal, crazy motherfucker, but for me, it's hard for me to wish bad things on anybody. But if anybody was gonna get caught slipping like this, it's better him than somebody.
I wouldn't
like
say that KSI. Like, you know, he doesn't do anything bad or whatever, because he does do a lot of bad stuff. He just doesn't. I'm saying that's his opinion of himself. That's how he projects. That's how he projects his brand. He doesn't get checked, right? There's never any punishments for the stuff that he does, right? There's never any real consequences. But, you know, to some of our viewers that listen to this podcast that might not have seen the drama alert, that might not really know what's going on, Jake Paul had a big fight with Triller against Ben Askren. The fight itself only lasted one round. Ben got knocked out in the first round. Crazy fight, right?
I think the pay-per-view sales were clocked in at what, 1.5 million pay-per-views.
Yeah, top 10,
which is fucking crazy, by the way.
It's top 10 most pay-per-view buys of all time. Like, I mean, this is something that Jake Paul can really truly be proud of. I mean, the numbers were insane. But, you know, Triller announced shortly after, you know, the pay-per-view that they were going to take legal actions. Like, I think the article that came out said that they were going to take like $100 million lawsuit against multiple websites. But yesterday they came out with a new press release that they emailed reporters, you know, and in this new press release, they said that they added h3h3 onto the lawsuit because he admitted that he pirated, you know, the pay-per-view on his stream, but also he rebroadcasted the fight on his podcast. And so they're really going after him, and they're saying that something along the lines, and I really wanted to get a lawyer on here today, but you know, the YouTube lawyers that I know were busy and I couldn't get them on, but they say something along the lines that it's $150,000 per instance of streaming the fight, potentially. This is the civil aspect of it, okay? Now, I'm going to talk about that again in a second. The criminal aspect, yeah, there's a whole criminal angle here because this is like against the law criminally. He could be facing up to 5 years in prison and $250,000 fine criminally. But if we could go back to the civil thing, if you look at this Triller statement that they came out with, this press release, it's really hard to understand the language because I'm not a lawyer, you're not a lawyer, and it says $150,000 per instance. Now, he streamed the Jake Paul fight. Well, yeah, I think he did stream it, right? Because he streams on members only.
He played that unlisted YouTube video on his podcast, right?
Right, but I think he streams his broadcast and then it gets uploaded as a video onto YouTube. So I don't know if he streamed or if
regardless,
it was.
I mean, 150K a pop. He's
got 1 million views.
If he even broadcasted that to 100 people, that's gnarly. Let's be real though. In situations like this, especially considering H3 has influence, I don't think Triller's looking to go to war with like a creator. You know what I mean? I'm
No,
sure
they are. They are. I talked to him.
Really?
Yeah, no, they want to.
Basically, my point in even saying that is, though, I don't see H3 going to jail for this, and I don't see him, $150,000 times $1 million. Let's just say $1 million.
By the way, do you know what that is? I did the math on it. It's $150 billion.
Yeah, which obviously, I mean, nobody on earth can afford to pay something like that. It's just unrealistic. I'm sure he'll end up having to pay Jake Paul some money, pay Triller some money, and just, I don't know, do something. He's going to have to do something.
Let me explain to you why I think Triller and my, little conspiracy, my little take, my little, guess of what's going on, why they're going so hard at h3h3's podcast and Ethan Klein and them. What happened was a week before the fight, allegations came out against Jake Paul. Sexual assault allegations. This girl came out and said that, we talked about it on the last podcast. You guys know about it.
Yeah.
But she came out and said that Jake sexually assaulted her. Jake denied these allegations, said that he's actually had no sexual relationship with this girl whatsoever, and that, it was planned to come out, the fight week just so he could get as much attention as possible. Jake also said that she was using this as a ploy to promote her OnlyFans or whatever.
To be very clear too, because these are always like touchy subjects, there still is no criminal case or criminal action being taken against Jake from the side of the accuser, correct?
No, none.
So that is the legal. It's just important to clear that. That is the legal where this stands legally as of now.
Yeah. Now she has said, Banks. She said that I'm going to go to the cops. I'm going to file a report. But I don't think that's happened yet.
I'd think that you'd probably be the first person to find something like that out. So
yeah. But anyhow, okay. Let's pretend. Right, because we don't know. Nobody knows the answer of what really happened between these two individuals. But let's pretend that Jake is telling the truth. All right. And let's try to get in the mind of Jake Paul. Right. If he never did anything with this girl whatsoever. Right. In his mind, the fact that h3h3 ran multiple podcasts, like labeling him as, someone that did this sexual assault because, h3h3 believes the victim. Right. In Jake's mind, it's like, look, Ethan's trying to ruin my career. And I've been told through the grapevine, and I don't know how true this is, but I've been told that, when Jake made these deals with Triller, he got equity in Triller, right? It's like part of his company. And you could see in that pay-per-view, Pete Davidson comes up to him and thanks Jake for being a part of it, in that awkward thing that happened in the locker room. And Pete Davidson says to Jake, he goes, I know how much of a hand you have in all this. So thank you for letting me be here. Right. So let's just pretend that all this stuff is true, that Jake is innocent and he owns part of Triller. Like, he is not going to go after h3h3 and settle for $100,000 or something like that. I think, h3h3 in his mind tried to ruin his career. So, and then h3h3 handed him the keys so Jake could ruin his career. I don't know.
Well, I don't think that this is something that's career ending for H3, and I'm interested to hear why you do think that that's the case. I think it's a huge hit on him as just an individual. I think financially it's going to fuck him, obviously.
I don't think it's career ending, but I mean, okay, let's talk about let's say he gets sued and, they get him for like $50 million or something, some crazy amount of money, right? Well, that would put him in bankruptcy, right? Let's say there's criminal action that's taken against him and he goes to jail for, let's say, 6 months, that shuts him down for 6 months. Like, it's not career ending, but this is life changing.
But is he really going to go to jail? Like, he's not going to go to jail, Keem. You can't possibly think he's actually going to go to jail for this.
I don't think so. No, I agree with you. I don't think he will, but I think Triller will try.
It's going to fuck him up. And if Jake has any hand in this, which it sounds like he probably does, I mean, I know Jake, and from past experiences, this motherfucker, like, you know what I mean? He's got that chip on his shoulder. He's going to want to, you know what I mean, press this as hard as he can. It's not something that he's just going to let slide. You know what I mean? Especially,
I just can't believe how
people of sexual assault, shit like that. Like, you can't be doing shit like that, bro. You just can't.
He's caused a lot of enemies. I mean, he's got a lot of enemies right now. I'm just shocked at how brave he was for Ethan to go on his show and be like, "Yeah, I pirated it." Like,
I don't think it's him being brave. I think he's fucking stupid, to be honest. And it's funny because he refers to me as face blanks, says I'm dumb. H3, if you're listening to this, I'm infinitely smarter than you and infinitely more successful than you. And I don't have to make fucking dumb YouTube videos with, cosplaying with Trisha Paytas and punching down and making up shit about every other creator and canceling.
I'm not gonna lie, I would love to see you cosplay with Trisha Paytas. I think that would be good content.
Yeah, it might be good content, but my point in saying that is I don't have to fucking embarrass myself and do shit like that to make money.
Dude, what's going on with you? Because today, I honestly, I could tell when you're not in a good mood. You're not that happy.
Honestly, I'm in a great mood. I'm just in focus. It's Tuesday, 4 p.m. I've been fucking grinding all day. I've been working on my NFT project. I'm super excited about Gary V's NFT project. I know you're not super tied into that whole world, which surprises me because it just seems like this NFT shit would be right up your alley.
I just got so much other stuff going on.
But it's just cool. Like, you love that collector shit.
I do.
You love that shit. And you're the most internet bred person I've ever met. As far as my friends go and my circle goes, you spend the most time on the internet. You're most familiar with internet culture. You've been here the longest. So for you to not be participating in this shit, it fucking blows my mind.
Well, I kind of want to, I feel like,
dude, I bought my punks 3 months ago almost.
Yep.
I spent just around 150K, and the value on them today is like 350K. And that has a lot to do with Ethereum going up and stuff, but that's the cool part about it, right? Rather than holding coins in your wallet, you have a non-fungible token that kind of just holds that value, and you get to look at it and trade them around and buy more and sell them and shit like that. And it's just fun. It's cool.
I like it, but it's like one of those things where when you're not early and you kind of miss it, which I wasn't really early. I kind of missed it a little bit.
Dude, listen, I know where you're going with this. It's still fucking early. Like, even people listening to this right now, I'm not a financial advisor, okay? But take all the money you have squirreled away, stashed away, cut it in half, and dump half of everything that you have into Ethereum today. It's a great investment. You're not late to the party. You know what I mean? And then when you have a stake in the game, naturally you're inclined to study.
Kids, don't do it. Do your own research, but go ahead with the sales pitch.
No, it's not a sales pitch. Ethereum isn't my coin. You know what I mean? It's not like this shit is so widespread at this point that even if every single person who's listening to this put $100,000 into it, it's not going to affect mine's valued at all that much. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm pumping some shit coin like some of these other motherfuckers have been doing. Ethereum's the real fucking deal. Ethereum and Bitcoin all day. It's still really fucking early. It's 2021. This shit was relatively unknown to the masses even 2 years ago. We're very, very early. I
can't believe what's happening with Doge. I mean, that just is, today it was up to 46 cents or something.
Dude, it's really, really incredible because I can honestly say I had a huge part in this Doge movement. Like, I really fucking did. When all that Robinhood shit happened with AMC and GameStop and all that shit that day.
I think we all did.
No, dude, but I don't know if you were paying attention to what was happening on my Instagram and my Twitter and stuff. But I tweeted out, let's get Doge to $1 to make this shit all worth it. It was on the front page. It was on the front page of Reddit. It was the top post on actual just reddit.com. Wall
Sick.
Street Bets, it was the top one. It had like fucking 400,000 upvotes. It was fucked. And then that, I'm sure everyone's seen this meme at this point. It's a dollar bill with the Doge edited as George Washington.
Right.
I made that. Me and FaZe Nikon made that.
That's sick.
I have a text thread to prove it has spread so far. So many people have seen that. It's been tweeted and shared and posted a fucking million times at this point. And we created that image. It's just, I don't know. It's really cool.
Oh, dude, I want to talk
And
about.
I bought Doge at less than a cent. It was less.
Yeah, me too.
Like,
I mean, I've been in and out of Doge so many times, but
Yeah,
hey,
same.
I've been meaning to ask you, and I don't know how much you can say because I know you're good friends with Mike, but have you seen this drama between Mike and, I mean, obviously you know about it, Mike and Logan? Puerto Rico, and he goes, hey, I wonder, he goes, I know some of you are wondering where Mike is. So the truth is I didn't invite him. You know, I'm just ignoring him. And then Mike came out and he made like an apology and he's like, yeah, friends mess up and stuff. But what happened? Like, do you know what happened between those two?
No, honestly, I mean, it's just, I feel like they've just been, and listen, this is my own gathering of the situation. What Mike has shared, we're not exactly in the same circle of friends. Mike and I are obviously really, really good friends. I consider him one of my best friends. He's actually moving into the house tomorrow. We're in business together. We hang out together. We share intimate details about our lives together. And that being said, everything that he has told me about the situation is basically, long story short, it just, things aren't the same anymore. Logan's on a different path. He's on a different trajectory. He's super, super focused on making money in his career and all that shit. And Mike is kind of in the same boat, but has different goals and aspirations. And he just feels like naturally they've just been button heads. Things have just been not happening the right way. Obviously, that thing that happened on our fucking podcast.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it happened.
Yeah, you want to, if you guys don't know, you should listen to the
back. If you listen to the episode that we had with Mike, I don't know. There was some dumb comment made about how he's like, yeah, he was saying that this motherfucker looks good in a skirt or wearing a skirt's okay, but he wouldn't say that if it wasn't on the podcast.
Yeah, they were talking about Harry Styles wearing a dress, and Mike was basically saying that. It was
the most petty, dumb comment, stupid comment.
Yeah, and you know how much beef I have with Mike, right? I even on Drama Alert defended Mike and said, Logan, come on. You know, he's you guys are boys. He's just talking shit about his friend.
That's why I've come to the conclusion that I just feel like they've kind of just been going at it, butting heads. Like, you know, when you got a close friend or even a family member, even a girlfriend, and you guys just start arguing about dumb shit. Like, who left the fucking milk out and who's going to feed the dog today? And
you know what, though? After the
dude.
Jake Paul, Ben Askren fight, Jake Paul went on Logan's podcast and Mike was there, right? I don't know if you've seen this episode or not, but I saw a clip from it. And Greg Paul was on, you know, their Jake and Logan's dad, Greg Paul. He was on the podcast. Yeah. And Greg Paul made a statement like, oh, I would love to beat up Pete Davidson, you know, because Pete Davidson was clowning on Jake. And Logan shut him off right there. He's like, can we get security? Like, we need to kick Greg out. Like, so I feel like
that's so funny. Wait, he actually kicked Greg off the show?
He made a joke that he was going to kick, you know, his dad off the podcast. Yeah. So I think Logan, let's try to get into the psyche of Logan Paul. All right. Logan Paul does this Suicide Forest thing. He gets canceled by everyone. He's had an amazing comeback, amazing turnaround.
Probably the greatest one the internet's ever seen. If I'm
Agreed. So I feel like Logan is so sensitive to any little drama or any little thing that's going to put him into a bad light. So when, you know, Mike is saying, he was just messing around about that, or, you know, his dad's on there. And look, man, I'm going to tell you what I heard. This is a rumor. I haven't seen the clip. I don't know. It's just what other people were saying online. What I heard was that Mike was streaming. Logan called him. Mike didn't tell Logan that he was streaming. And, you know, Logan called David Dobrik the R word, You know, and that's what I heard, but no one's seen this clip. I've looked all over there. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's true or not. And that's what set them off.
This is a popular or unpopular take, and I don't know what it says about me or my character, but fuck it. If that's the case, I actually don't know anything about that, but I think that, yeah, the R word, what else could you be talking about? I mean, listen, dude, is it really that big of a deal? Is anyone really mad at Logan, even if that's the case? Like, really?
No, but I think that goes into the psyche.
Humans, not these fucking, like, anonymous fucking cancel culture Twitter accounts. Like, is anyone actually mad? Two friends on a conversation. He calls David Dobrik maybe not the most flattering of words, maybe not the most appropriate of words. Like, is anyone actually mad? Like, if that happened to me, for example, and there was some drama around it, Big Mike, you're fucking stupid. Like, maybe next time let me know you're streaming, but it's not that big of a deal. You know what I mean?
No, it's not that big of a deal, but this is what I'm trying to say. I think, like, in the psyche of Logan Paul, like, anything that's negative, anything that could cause another controversy with him, he is hypersensitive to, you know?
Yeah, which is understandable. I mean, he's done a good job.
After what he's been through,
he's done a good job of bouncing back. Cancel culture is more prevalent now than it has ever been. I'd love
Thanks
to talk about
a few people.
Yeah. I'd love to talk about that even too, because I did watch your drama alert. Because I was interested, because I knew we were going to be talking about the H3 thing. I kind of wanted to like brush up on the facts of the case. But dude, can we just for a second recognize the fact that KSI really is and has always been just an absolute fucking legend of a human?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
to have that big of an audience, like, you don't need to make these, like, when you're in a position that KSI is in, he's incredibly successful. Everything is going the right way for him. He's probably making more money now than he's ever made before. He's beloved.
Yeah. Just to put in context,
fucking fan base. This kid might as well be the Justin Bieber of fucking the UK.
But that's it. Really that's it. KSI is a legitimate celebrity. But
yes.
Go ahead.
Yes. And for him to have a take like that and be public about that, it speaks to KSI as an individual. It speaks to how a lot of these fucking celebrities and just people with influence.
Well, wait, explain to the audience what KSI's take was, because they don't know.
He just basically was like, listen, this cancel culture shit is getting way out of hand. I don't agree with it. I think it's all bullshit. In the cases of, which I think everybody has this take, right? When it comes to cases of like sexual assault or a pedophilia, for Christ's sakes, like things like truly evil acts that humans commit, like obviously somebody who's running around touching kids, being fucking crazy, a sexual predator, cancel that motherfucker. They shouldn't have a platform. They honestly shouldn't even be walking around in the public. They should be behind bars. They should be away from the rest of society because they're actually harmful, right? But in the case of fucking dark humor, jokes, words that come out of people's mouths, like, it's important for all of us to check each other. And that's why I'm so against the censorship of like words, the use of words, even in the most horrific things that nobody agrees with. I think it's important for those opinions to be seen, heard, shared, just for other people to learn about the harm of these things. You know what I mean? Like, for people to discuss why these things are so stupid and so wrong. Because nobody's directly harmed by words. I don't care who the fuck you are or what you've been through. We've all been through our shit. Words cannot physically harm you, right?
Yeah. No.
And I think that's where we got, like, I don't know. That's where the line should be drawn. That's the exact take that KSI has. And for him to be so public about that and talk about that, it's fucking awesome. And it's just, I'm so glad he's at where he's at. I'm so glad that he's seeing the success.
Dude, he is such a legend. And dude, he's you said it, you know, he is really, really a down to earth, good person. You know, behind it. He never gets like, I'm better than you, than anyone. In fact, you know, here's a story that some people might not know about KSI. All right. I go to the KSI versus Logan Paul, the first match, right? And I'm sitting out and I'm having a cig back when I used to be a loser and smoke cigarettes. I don't do that anymore. That's bad. Kids don't do that. But I'm out there having a cig and I'm, you know, talking to this bloke, right? You know, he's from England or whatever. And we're just chatting it up. And he's like, yeah, KSI is my friend. But, you know, we call him JJ or whatever. And I'm like, oh, how'd you guys become friends? He's like, oh, we met online on Xbox Live. And, we play games and stuff together. And I'm like, oh, what's your YouTube? He goes, I don't have a YouTube. And I'm like, oh, you don't? He's no, man. He told me what he did. I forgot what it was, but it was like some blue collar work or whatever. And he's like, yeah, one day I was online, I met this guy and, we found out like months later that he was famous. And, JJ ended up telling him, hey, I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm doing some boxing event, and
That's awesome.
He flew them out. So like the guys that KSI hangs out with when he's playing video games are just random friends that he met.
Yeah.
What I mean?
No, KSI's character is 10 out of 10. He's a great dude. And the fact that, and he's got it together, man. Listen, Keemstar and I know this kid on a personal level, and this is an important thing to always remind yourselves. The personalities and the people that you see on your computer screens, that shit is not always 100% accurate, right? These do-gooders who have all the best takes and virtue signal and fucking do no wrong and are always smiling. That's not who they really are when the cameras are off. Everybody's, at the end of the day, we're all human. And I'm telling you, this dude is a fucking good dude. I've seen him numerous times just act according to that statement. Great guy. And for someone who's genuinely a 10 out of 10 great dude to have a take like that, it's something to think about. For all the young listeners, it's like, I don't know.
Yo, here's something that's happening now, reverting back to the h3h3 thing. Obviously when h3h3 got sued or, the announcement came out and he's potentially facing jail, I was gloating. I was jumping up and down because I hate the guy. But I uploaded a Twitter video earlier today. And I was talking about this tweet that came my way that I can't get out of my mind. Somebody tweeted at me and they're like, how can you be so happy that he could potentially go to prison when he has a kid and his kid would be raised up without a father? And that's kind of bothered me. Like, that's mental gymnastics, right? To like kind of like think about that and have that moral like sitting in my mind because I'm a parent myself. But I always revert back to like, this guy is trying to deplatform me on every platform. All right. Just last week, h3h3 was saying that I don't deserve to have a daughter and that, my daughter should be taken away. I'm just constantly being attacked by this guy. So T Martin responds to me and, because I was making the point that h3h3 always has a kernel of truth and then it manipulates and lies and slanders the rest of the story to spin it his way. T Martin responds to me, which is another YouTuber that got exposed by h3h3 actually for, he was running a gambling site or whatever and wasn't really transparent with his audience that he was the owner. So he responds to me on Twitter and he says, he's done the exact same thing to me, slandered and misrepresentation to me with the lotto in 2016, as well with countless other creators over the years. I would never wish bad on anyone, but if karma is karma. So H3 responds to T Martin says, if karma was real, you'd be in jail. T Martin responds just now while we're filming this. He goes, remember when you hid from me at Universal? Because you were too scared to have a conversation with me. Oh my gosh, this is so good. He goes, I trust the FTC and they're doing their job in my investigation where they found nothing illegal on my part. Wow.
Yeah, I'd like to say I was super, super heavily involved in all that, like CSGO, like community stuff. I just want to say T-Mart's never been wrapped up in any sort of other scandal in his fucking 15 years of being online. For the most part, he's done everything the right way. He's a really good dude. I know him on a personal level. I just felt the need to say that.
Look,
if he went through the clenches of the justice system and everything checked out and everything was cool, then that should be the end of the conversation.
Morally,
H3's fucking ruthless and would genuinely enjoy seeing people that he doesn't know with platforms go to jail and have their lives ruined and be canceled. So karmatically, yeah. I mean, if anyone's going to get fucked over and have people genuinely be like stoked to see that, it's probably him. That being said, though, I do wish him the best. I hope that maybe he could just learn a little bit from this and maybe stop being such a fucking dick.
You know, like, what bothers me?
I genuinely hope that he doesn't, because H3 is a legend in his own right. I think he's lost his way. I used to be a huge fucking fan of this dude. Back in the day, he's been around forever. It's so weird to see his complete total 180 in personality, because he used to be like that edgy, like, remember the iDubbbz thing?
Yep.
And this is something that I 1000% disagreed with, did not think it was funny whatsoever, did not like that he did it, thought that he was trying way too hard to appeal to that like hardcore, edgy, don't give a fuck audience. But I mean, he dropped the hard R and the
hard F word too.
The hard F word back to back. And it was like a running thing that him and iDubbbz were dropping that shit on his podcast.
And this was like 2017, 2016.
This isn't even all that long ago. So for someone to act in that way and behave in that way, and then just a few years later, take this fucking moral high ground, like I can do no wrong, and everybody who makes anybody feel any sort of way, fuck them, cancel them, take away their sponsors, throw them in jail.
Yeah, he goes, this is the biggest thing. He goes after YouTubers' money. He goes after YouTubers' sponsors. He gets a mob. He feeds them with, not accurate information, a false representation of the facts, right? To get them all riled up.
I'll be honest. Listen, I've never, even with Jake Paul, even when Jake Paul, because I came out of that situation unscathed, and even I just came out better off than I was before when he accused me of the assistant thing. Everybody knows, whatever, we talk about it here and there. But if there was ever a time where it would have been justified for me to sue another creator over some like internet beef, it probably would have been that, right? That's like genuine slander and you know what I mean? Defamation of character. I really could have pursued that and probably made some money, probably gotten Jake in some trouble, whatever. We sat down face to face. We chopped it up. Still didn't like the fucking dude after, but we handled it. You know what I mean? We handled it. Young kid. I'm not the fucking...
shit. I tried to make peace with Ethan 2 different occasions. I made him a Twitter video directly at him and said, hey, look, this is going too far. I go, you've lost all your sponsors. I lost my sponsors. I go, we're setting a bad example for the entire community. I was trying to put the community in front of this beef.
That's kind of the point I was trying to get at, is like, even with that Jake Paul situation, we walked away, shook hands, we came to some sort of formal agreement that, listen, stop talking about me, stop talking about this situation, admit to your fucking fans that this isn't true. You know what I mean? He fired Meg Zelly, who was supposedly the one who accused me of it. He was just kind of going off her story, whatever. But the reason why I'm saying all this is because it's all about like the intent of the person, right? Like Jake clearly was mad about me dating Alyssa, or wanted a good title and thumbnail, wanted to fuck with me on some just like YouTube shit. And he was caught up in a million other fucking controversies. He's just a controversial kid, obviously. So we just wiped our hands clean of it, whatever. But if I'm going to be honest, if there was ever a person on the internet who, if they really crossed the line and fucked up, and there were grounds for me to sue them and pursue legal action, H3 is probably in that conversation. He's probably in that single spot, maybe a few other people, just because his intent, bro, and just him as a person, man. Like, I know I'm kind of going in on this dude, but he's said enough about me, and he's stepped on my toes more than enough times for me to just chalk it up to him. He's just
troubled. Shit. He's troubled. He's obviously has problems, and he doesn't go checked. He has this mob that he's created, this cancel culture mob that he's created that does his bidding, and he's sicking him on everyone. And it's just, and this is all leading to a bad place. And give me just a second without interruption to just kind of make this point, Banks. And I'm sure there's some people listening to this podcast right now that inspired to be a YouTuber, inspired to be a Twitch streamer, inspired to have some type of career online. I mean, it's very popular. It's like the number one thing that kids want these days, right? Well, when you're getting your start in this industry, the first big break you have is a sponsor or is a brand deal, because now you have enough money where you can do this full time and you can really dedicate, all your time and effort to making your dream a reality, right? What's happening is if you make it a normal thing when there's internet beefs and there's drama online, if you make it a normal thing to attack that person's sponsors, eventually these companies are going to say, look, this is not worth it. We're not going to sponsor YouTubers. We're not going to sponsor, podcasts. We're not going to, put ads on YouTube, right? They're going to leave.
This has been a problem that the internet and creators on the internet have faced for a really long time. And it's one of those things where all of us as a community should band together and really we should all act in a way where we try not to make this like a relevant topic. YouTubers have always got the shit under the stick. When I say YouTubers, I mean YouTubers, streamers, just content creators on just internet-based content creators in general. Yeah. You don't see sponsors like Nike or fucking BMW or Coca-Cola, these like marquee Fortune 500 companies. You know what I mean? You don't see these types of companies really ever enter the space. And it's for this reason, honestly. It's like there's way too much. It's way too big of a risk for these companies. They don't need it. They don't feel like.
And they're never going to come when you have a guy like H3h3 sicking his mob after. Okay, look, James Charles, I think this is my opinion. And of course, I don't know every single facts on what happened behind the scenes, but I think James Charles is guilty. And I think James Charles, if he really is a danger to kids, he should be canceled, right? But I don't think you should go after Morphe. I don't think you should go after his sponsors. And that might seem insane if I have the opinion that he deserves to lose everything, but also have the opinion to not go after his sponsors. But the truth is that affects the next beauty influencer. That affects the next YouTuber. Like leave the companies alone. The companies aren't doing anything. They're not doing anything bad. They're just making products and trying to sell those products.
And at the end of the day, I'm sure, they don't want to support or pay somebody, put money in someone's pocket who's actually a danger to society, right? So let them make those fucking decisions for themselves.
Exactly.
And, yeah, I don't know, man. There needs to be way more accountability for this cancel culture shit. I wish that people would pay way closer attention to what's actually happening legally in situations like this. Hardcore facts.
Do you know what happened with Ice Poseidon?
Yeah,
with Karl Jacobs from Mr. Beast.
Give me 2 seconds. Hold on, pause real quick. Bam, I'm doing the podcast. Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm doing this in my bedroom, and my girlfriend just walked in. Fuck, what was I saying?
I don't know. Don't cut that, editor. That's funny.
You guys want to leave it in? You can leave it in. I'll go.
Just leave it in. I got to tell you, do you know about the Ice Poseidon Karl Jacobs situation?
Yeah. No, I did see that. And again, it's unfortunate, man. It really is unfortunate.
Let me explain this to those of you that might not know, listen to the podcast. Okay, so Ice Poseidon a couple years ago is the biggest in real life streamer. Like, he invented the genre, or at least put the genre on the map, right? He would have 20,000 concurrent viewers, crazy in real life streams, him walking around with his phone, doing all different types of stunts and stuff. And his community was incredibly toxic and edgy, right? Yeah. And so it got to a point where Ice Poseidon said, enough is enough. My community is too toxic. And he gave up his entire career to go be a good boy streamer and just stream video games. And
it really hasn't worked out all that well for him.
Exactly.
I do think that he had to make that decision for his own mental health. By the way, I was friends with Ice as well. If I saw him today, I'd give him a hug. I'd say, what's up? I'd ask him how he was doing. I'd have a conversation with him. I was never really super close friends with him, but we've always been friendly. We've always followed each other. I've actually featured on that stream a couple times, which is going to piss some people off for whatever reason. But, this motherfucker made the right choice, made the decision to sort of walk away from this incredibly toxic, this community that was kind of ruining his life. And I'm not I'm just laughing because of how crazy it was. Anybody that's followed Ice Poseidon.
I'm laughing because it's funny. Like, I don't care. Edgy stuff is funny, you know? Like, I have an edgy humor.
I'm not laughing at the jokes. I'm laughing more so at just this fucking dude